Golden Hour with Anna. This is the Golden Hour with Anna Gold and my guest, Sonny Kruger. Am I pronouncing your last name correctly, Sonny?
That is correct.
Awesome.
My name is Sonny Kruger.
Awesome, Sonny. Thank you. Sonny is a writer, a director. Would you call yourself a producer as well?
Yes, since I produce my stuff, yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, you do. Thanks. And do you consider yourself an actor too?
Yep, I am an actor. So in my series, a series about a series, I'm the lead actor. So yeah,
You
that, and then I'm
are.
looking to act in other stuff as well.
Oh, that's awesome. So, Sonny, what's your first love?
I guess I'd say writing is the thing I love to do.
Yeah,
It all starts with writing.
it does actually. Last night when I called you to set up this meeting, um, uh, you said I have weird hours and I write at night. Like, how late do you write every night?
It goes sometimes to 6, sometimes even to 7 a.m.
Wow, so you are a night owl. Like, that's
Oh yeah.
incredible. What do you feel like makes you write the best at night? What do you think helps with that?
There's just something with my mind that is most imaginative at night. I think also too, like the rest of the world, well, obviously the rest of this country pretty much is sleeping. So I have a lot of
Oh,
peace and quiet, and I can just completely focus and get completely into the world of whatever story I'm writing at the time.
oh, you can. You're right. There are no other thoughts to interrupt yours, like no other really noises, so to speak of, or
Yeah.
what are your favorite things to write about?
I write all kinds of stories. I tend to lean towards drama, sometimes dramedies, sometimes thrillers, but yeah, I like to test the waters with everything. Like I said, dramas tend to be what I usually go to in thrillers, but I'll take on everything from family dramas to serial killers, detective stories, superheroes, rock stars, all kinds of things. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. Did you say Texas stories? I thought I heard you say that.
Uh, no Texas stories yet, but a lot of times I kind of leave the plots I kind of leave the settings open. Like it could be you could I like to one great thing with reading is you can pretty much imagine where you want the story to take place. If you want it to be in your hometown or you say, hey, I want it to be in this place. So a lot of times I like to leave it kind of open.
Oh, that's nice. So your latest story, a series about a series, or I shouldn't call it your latest story, but your latest script and your latest project. Can you tell us about that?
So a series about a series is a show about someone making a series. But for me, it started I was born in England, but I was raised in Chicago, and then I spent a few years in Wisconsin. And then when
Oh,
I moved back to Illinois to live with my fiance Maria, I was like, okay, I'm gonna try to get into the film industry because every time I would write, I've been writing for years, and I said, I always had this plan of, all these stories. Like one day, I truly want them to be films in television series. So I said, I'm gonna do my best. I'm gonna get my foot in the door, and as soon as I started going to meetups and things like that, I'm like, oh, there's a story here. There is a lot that goes on in the Illinois indie filmmaking scene. So start seeing the story in my head. So I did write a series about a series, and I said, this is one I can make now. So then
oh,
I was ready to go, and then the world shuts down due to the, COVID pandemic. But during that time, I said, okay, I can still write. And then I even wrote another story called Fugue, and I made it take place during the COVID-19 shutdown. And then I was okay, well, we can do auditions and things like that through Zoom. So that's how we started to do that. And then once things started to open up, we started to film and eventually, it was a really fun thing to film a series about a series, the pilot, and then now we've moved on to more episodes. And yeah, so I was learning along the way, when the story it's about a writer and he's learning to make the show, and at the same time, I'm a writer learning to make a show, so we could relate. And I did make myself audition for it. I said I won't just give myself the part, I have to audition for it. So I did, and that is how I got the lead as Buck Banderas in a series about a series.
oh, really? So who cast you? If you're the writer and director, who was the casting like decision maker on that?
I am also the casting director as well.
You're like, I like him. I'm gonna give him a part.
He's got the part, you know. I mean, it was kind of, I did have a bit of an advantage because I know everything about, the character. I created them all. So I know like here's what's gonna happen, here's how their thought process and things like that. So I did have an advantage in that case.
Just a little bit, just a bit.
Yeah.
So you also are a comic book fan, right?
Well, I'm a huge comic book fan, and I even host the Codex podcast with the Codex station. So
Oh,
even you can see
yeah.
around me, I got a bit of XM books there, even right there, SK, even got a, Wolverine. I can't really see the whole painting right there. And then even to this hoodie right next to me is for the Codex station.
Oh,
So
that's awesome. How do people access that if they want to listen to you?
So just you could look up anywhere at the Code X station, and it should lead you to all of our shows, the Code X podcast, which I host, and then there's Comic Character of the Week. There's After Dark. That's a little more of a like a laid back show for laid back things, and like, the language is open. Whereas on the Code X podcast, we have all this fun, but somehow I've still managed to watch my language on there, and I still haven't sworn ever. Not
Oh,
a day.
good.
A
Awesome.
series
So
about
that,
yeah, a series about a series. Buck's language isn't too nice, but on the Codex podcast, my language is pretty nice.
oh, that's good. That's one of the things that I work with. Like, I don't want cuss words on my podcast, just in case some little kids listening to it and they are like, oh, hey, I want to make it in the industry someday. How do I do that? And they come across the podcast. I want them to be like, cool, and not like saying cuss words to their mom the next day, you know?
Yeah,
So
so
you're definitely good. Thanks for not doing that. And so tell us what's next on your agenda with writing, producing, directing in the industry.
everything we are episode 3 of a series about a series is set to be released. No set date, but I'm looking at a March release. April would be the latest. So another episode that will be on YouTube. And then right now I'm writing, and I'm always writing story. I'm writing a short story called 1900 Detective. It takes place in 1900 and about a
Oh,
detective. But I'll
nice.
release that one a bit later. And right now, the story I'm editing and releasing is called The Good Priest, and that's along with my other stories you can see on or find on Wattpad. And that's where a
Oh,
series about a series originally started as a story that I posted online.
that's cool. That's neat. Do you plan to make the two that you're writing now into series as well, or do you just want to keep them as stories?
Mostly everything I write, I always see them like in my head. I always see it's like watching a movie or a show in my head. So there's always that little one day I'd like to get to it.
That is so
So
cool.
one day.
That's so neat. What's a favorite story you have from being on a set? Like, do you have any fun adventure? Anything funny happen? Like, did a light fall over once, or
Oh, I mean, things are always falling over on set, but I'd say one funny story with a series about a series was one of the first times, and you know, it was my first time directing anything. They say you should go, they say you should start with short films and then move on to series, but I really saw I'm like I need to make my series first. So the pilot was the first thing I filmed, and on one of the days on set, I'm like, okay, I'm directing. This is the most people I'm directing. It's about 7 people at once. And then at the
wow?
studio, we get there and it's completely taken over. There was also a rap video being filmed.
Oh,
So there was
right.
people all around
Oh man,
and
like
they were in
right
the
when you.
room too.
Oh, so people who weren't supposed to be in your series were around you and just hanging out.
So we did have to say, hey, this is the room that I actually rented out. So everybody was okay. Everyone got along and we all worked together. But it was an interesting day to be like, okay, now I hear the music. We'll pause. Okay, they stopped filming that. Now we'll do another take. And it's a very crowded day because the whole studio had one bathroom.
Oh
So,
boy.
and some people were using that as like changing rooms, but it was an interesting one, and the whole thing it did turn out fine. So I was it came, a bit of an obstacle, but hey, that's part of how it goes. I know now to just always prepare. There's always some kind of obstacle. Something will happen. Even before this, how we got started with this, we were having a bit of technical
Oh,
problems before we got started for this interview.
we were, yeah. I couldn't hear you, and then I think you couldn't hear me at one point in time, right?
Yeah, we couldn't hear each other, but I'm like, okay, it's set. Be prepared. It's probably going to happen. I mean, hey, you do this podcast, so I'm sure you deal with
Yes,
issues, and that's when everything will go wrong right before you start.
usually that's true, but then I ate a quesadilla and it all worked out. So
Yeah, sometimes we just
That's
need
what
a
I did
little
when
food in our belly.
That's right. That's what I did between our Zoom meetings, and here we are. So, thanks, guys, everyone who's listening to the Golden Hour podcast recording right now. My guest again is Sonny Kruger, and I'm so happy to have you on. Sonny, I asked you a question when I sent you the questions, and you said which Marvel comic you'd like to remake, and you said X-Men. Why would you like to remake the X-Men Marvel comic movie?
Well, because I am a huge X-Men fan. Me and my brother, we grew up watching X-Men the animated series, and then that's how I got into comic books. I mean, even right next to me, had a whole bunch of big ones, and I have more comics all around me. But for me, when it comes to X-Men, especially the Phoenix Saga is the one I think I would focus on because I always thought the movies never did justice to the Phoenix stories. And I know as somebody who's read them and even watched the animated series, I thought the animated series did a good job of it. But I like it's such a powerful story. It's to me the story that pushed X-Men to like the next level, like up there with Avengers and the Justice League. Like I think they need to do a Phoenix movie right.
Oh,
And I think now with movies like I think before they were kind of afraid to go with space, like oh superheroes in space. But with success of movies like the Guardians of the Galaxy, I think people are more like, okay, it could work out. You could have superheroes in space and you could still have great movies. So I would go with the Phoenix Saga.
the Phoenix Saga. Cool. And who would you cast in that if you had your utmost choice and the highest level of money and budget? What would your
Ooh.
cast list look like?
Well, I'd have to give me some kind of part. I'd
Yes,
have to jump on one of my favorite, I have to jump on somebody. But right now, ooh, not too sure who I would cast. I usually don't give roles. Everybody has to audition. Even
fair
with mine,
enough.
so I'd say you gotta audition. I mean, maybe some of the people who are already playing some of the characters say, okay, you're good, but I'd make pretty much everybody would have to audition, even as
Okay,
big as a name as they are. Yeah.
that's fair though. I mean, fair is fair, and that's awesome. Um, so how long has it been since you've been back to the United Kingdom, since you are technically British, right? You were born in the UK.
That's right. I was born in Croydon, England, but I came here when I was 2, and the last time I was there was quite a few years ago. It was 2008, so I was 18 years old. I haven't been back for a long time, but yeah, it's been a while. I wouldn't mind going back. I still, obviously, I was, raised here in the U.S. I am an American citizen, and I'm very proud to be, an American, but I still love England. That is where I was born, and, I still have relatives there, so I still will always have a love in my heart for England as well. So one day
Oh,
I wouldn't mind returning.
that's neat. My grandma was British or Welsh technically, and I've always wanted to
Okay.
go. Where would you recommend that a person go if they were visiting for the first time?
I guess I would say London to, see the touristy stuff, Big Ben and the London Eye and everything like that. But, Croydon's a town that's pretty close by, and hey, you could see where I'm from, and
Oh yeah,
probably a lot less expensive than London, so
I
it
can
would be just a
imagine.
little train ride or bus ride away.
Oh, that's nice. How do you spell your hometown?
Croydon.
Okay, Croydon. I got it. And do you feel like being British has influenced your filmmaking at all, being that you've gone back there and you're technically a citizen, right?
Well, I would have to go back there and just work out a few things to have dual citizenship since I haven't been there for so long. I would be able to do it. For me, about filmmaking, I would just say it's everything in life. If anything,
Mm-hmm.
I'd say more of being in Chicago, I would say has definitely a bigger influence on me. I mean, sometimes if anybody is looking for any advice on how to write a dark story, if you need a little bit of motivation, watch the Chicago news for a week and you'll be overwhelmed with material.
Oh boy, isn't that the truth? Yes.
Yeah.
I had a guest on my podcast named Jerry Vasilatos. He's a Greek guy. He's a filmmaker and he hosts something called the Chicago Corner on YouTube. So his take on the news of Chicago, it's almost like making fun of it, making fun of what's going on. And I know what you mean though about the dark elements. Yeah, it's like Gotham City sometimes.
Oh yeah. I've even heard of the not too long ago I heard someone say Chicago is basically Gotham. Yeah.
Yeah, especially in the fog. I live in the suburbs, but right now where you are, is it foggy in Chicago?
Oh yeah, we're getting plenty of fog. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look
it
outside
just
the window, very foggy.
yeah, it does have that Gotham City vibe. You're just looking for like the sign for Batman, and then he
Yes.
comes around the corner. um, all right. Well, I'm gonna pause briefly for a commercial break. This podcast is run on coffee. And if you guys would like to buy me a cup of coffee, please go to buymeacoffee.com/gold coffee. Thank you guys for listening. And now we are going to play Bradley Cooper trivia. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Awesome. So Bradley Cooper is one of your favorite actors, am I right?
Yep. Yeah, he's done a lot. Yeah, like adding or like me, he does acting, he does directing, he does music, he does a lot.
I didn't know that he did music. That's cool.
I went for A Star is Born. He was doing the music, or, some of the songs in
Oh,
there, yeah.
oh, that's cool. Gosh, that's great. I didn't know that. Now you're teaching me some Bradley Cooper trivia. um,
I'll let you ask the questions. Yeah.
okay, thank you, Sonny. All right, the first choice that I'm going to give you is a multiple choice question. Bradley Cooper was born in which year? 1972, 1975, or 1978?
1972.
Sorry, you're close, but it was 1975.
Okay, 1975. Okay. Sorry, Bradley.
That's okay. You know, regardless, he's a good-looking man, a great actor, and uh okay, and Bradley Cooper was raised on, sorry, I should say to correct myself. Bradley Cooper was born on the East Coast of the United States, in the South of the United States, or in the West of the United States.
I'll just say East.
You are correct. Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, to be exact. Woo, you got one
There you go.
right.
Yes, I got one.
Yeah.
I got one, so at least I'm on the board.
That's right. All right, one on the board, and there will be three more questions. Okay. Um, which age was Bradley Cooper when he quit drinking alcohol? Now, this I'm just gonna let you guess. Because you know he's in
I
his
will,
40s now, so
okay, so I will say 30.
oh, you're so very, very close. He was 29.
Oh
But I
wow, I
feel
was
like,
very close.
yeah, you were. I feel like I should almost give that to you because just that was just 1 year away. um, all right. And for the fourth question, did Bradley Cooper appear on the show Sex and the City? Yes or no?
I will say yes.
All right, you are correct. Yes, good job. He did appear as Carrie Bradshaw, or her character's lover. So I didn't realize that, and I liked that show. So awesome. I'm
The same
learning
here.
some.
I was trying to remember. I was like,
Yeah, I'm learning some stuff too. I'm definitely happy to know this in case I meet him. I'll be like, hey, I didn't know you were on Sex in the City. um
you're that guy who was on one episode of Sex and the City, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
and just act like that's the only thing he's been on.
Yeah.
That's the only thing I recognize him from. Shutting him down. All right, let's see here. And the last Bradley Cooper trivia question is, which language does Bradley Cooper speak fluently? Does Bradley Cooper speak French, Mandarin, or Spanish fluently? French, Mandarin, or Spanish?
We'll go with French.
You are right, oui, oui. um,
Okay.
th- thank you very much. You got more right than many guests. You must know, like, did you study this beforehand?
No, if anything, I should have gotten the his birth right. I'm usually good with ages. That's the one I'm surprised I got wrong.
Oh, unless this trivia is wrong, you can always look, because I mean, I just got this
But
online and you really
I
never
think you're
know.
right. I think you're right. I had gotten things mixed up, so no one to blame but myself. So there you go.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff on here, including Bradley Cooper was once a tobacco chewer. I never would have guessed. Would you ever picture him as a guy who chews tobacco?
Not really, no.
Yeah, me neither. That's cool though. Well, it has been so nice having you as my guest, and is there anything else that you would like to tell our listeners who potentially are up and coming filmmakers, other actors, writers, directors, anything you want to share about yourself or your next works?
I will say keep going for what you want because it's your dreams, keep chasing them and they are worth it. For me, even I go for things even if it seems like really far-fetched and sometimes I'm like, let's say I write a story and I'm like, I don't know if this will be made 10 years, 20 years down the road, but either way, just when I'm working on it, the fun of working towards your dreams is worth it and that's a win in itself. So I will say keep on chasing your dreams.
Wow, that's great advice. That's super. And is there anything you'd like to say in regards to the Chicago community in general? Like, what do you like about Chicago versus maybe making a film in LA? Or do you have any thoughts on our community in this windy city?
One thing I love about Chicago, what I've seen in this industry, in the Chicago film scene, is how diverse it is, how all different kinds of people can come together, can make something beautiful, that can make a masterpiece. And I've seen people come together, especially helping me with my series. So I've seen that, and that's one thing I will always be grateful for. Is I look at everybody's, they help me make a dream of mine come true. And then even working on other sets too. I've seen it takes all different kinds of people from different backgrounds in the film industry, and that's something that I love and that I think is truly beautiful with Chicago.
It really is. Everyone does come together nicely here and it fits. Like, I worked on a lot of projects where, I might not have hung out with this person if I hadn't made a film with them, but then the project turns out great and it's really cool and they're really cool. And just, you just discover so many awesome people. And collectively,
Yes.
don't you think that Chicagoans in general, especially in the film community, are such hard workers?
I just see that. I just see, yeah, I was very surprised that so many people were willing to come forward and they're about the work, they're about the arts. So that's one thing I've been like, extremely impressed with, and that's one thing I love, and that makes me proud. That is one thing that makes me very proud of Chicago. And I shouldn't just say Chicago, I should say Illinois in general. Like obviously many in Chicago, but there are suburbs too who get really involved in the film scene here.
Yeah, there really are. It's excellent and it's great to be a part of. And oh, wait, there was one more thing I was going to mention to you. Did you tell me that you were an extra on one of the Chicago shows, like Chicago Med or Fire?
I've been, yep, on Chicago Med. I worked on PD, but they didn't pick me. It was a quick day though, so quick payday for
Oh,
me. But yeah, so
yeah.
Chicago Med, The Beer I've worked on multiple times. Fargo, I shaved and had a mustache and got shot on there. So that was one of my
Awesome.
favorite ones. Yeah. So I do work
That's
as an extra.
that's cool. Did you ever see yourself on any of those shows?
I did in Med. I saw me walk by in The Beer. Like I knew because there's a part like I knew to look for myself. And yeah, Fargo, I did see myself get shot and laying there bloody. So look, I'm shot. If anybody has a problem with me, there you go. You can watch Fargo, season 4, episode 8, and you can see, look, there's Sonny shot. So there
That's
we go.
awesome. Did you get an extra bump for being the victim?
The bumps not for being the victim, but it was like because he had a bit of makeup on. Even one time they like covered like a pimple one time, and they literally gave me like $10 extra for that. So hey, I'll take it. And then two,
Wow.
because I shaved and only had a mustache, they gave me a bit of a pay bump for that.
Oh, that's nice. That's excellent. I didn't know that they would do that.
Yeah, so it was cool.
I was an extra on Chicago Med, season 9, episode 4, which will be airing in about 2 weeks. And I just
Nice.
want to say, yeah, it was exciting. And I just want to say that those people were so polite, like the cast members, the crew members, everyone, the extras, I just felt like it was a smooth rhythm and I really liked working on it. It was just a smooth operation. And I really enjoyed being a part of Chicago Med.
Nice. Yeah, same here too. It is a fun job. Some nice long hours, but hey, it's I always go in just knowing like so if anybody is thinking about getting into the film industry too, just know when you have a day of work, just be prepared to be there all day.
Yes, all day and doing the same take multiple times, but that's how you get it right, That's
Yeah.
actually it's perfection from every angle. And I just wanted to say one more time to our listeners, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for supporting me, for supporting Sunny. and all of us who are here in the entertainment industry for you. And if you want to contribute, go to buymeacoffee.com/goldcoffee. Help me pump these episodes out. I need coffee. I need coffee. Thank you guys once again for listening. Thank you, Sonny, for being my guest, and furthermore, for being technically, you're the host of this Zoom meeting because I couldn't figure it out. And it's great to finally be on video for my podcast. So this is great.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. I'll see you later, Sonny. Thank you so much for being my guest. And everyone, thank you for listening. Bye.